people leaving our city. So if we have brothers like you that's willing to build our city up, then why are these buildings still left vacant?
Especially when they're owned by the city. It's owned by the city.
Get the buildings when they're owned by the city. Like, I'm willing to pay top dollar for it.
Yeah, and
exactly,
and the city's losing money. I mean,
that's potentially another revenue.
Yeah, of course.
Bring money in, stop kicking it out.
Yeah, take the $60,000 tomorrow. It's vacant. Take it.
Welcome back to the Investment Night Podcast. We got a very special guest, actually 2 guests today. Cam, he was a good buddy of mine for a long time, actually, but we'd recently got involved in some real estate together, I'd say about a year ago. That's when we first made contact there. But the main show for today is a potential upcoming candidate for mayor of Harrisburg, PA.
Yes.
Now, before all of you log off, you're like, well, I'm not in fucking Harrisburg, right? Right. So a lot of audience isn't. But we're going to be going over some micro topics about, what he's going to be doing, the different kind of strategies that you can implement into, housing markets, crime, stuff like that. But also from a macro perspective where it's like, obviously, every city has a mayor, right? And you kind of can look behind the scenes and understand, like, what power does a mayor actually have in your township, especially when it comes to, like, investment properties and the different codes, regulations, stuff like that, permitting. So we're going to dive into a little bit of all of it today, but I'm excited to have you guys on. So thank you for stopping by. Sounds cooked, by the way. I don't even think I said. Yeah, Mayor Toast Cook.
Sounds good. That sounds good.
That's good. All right. So, Cam, you want to give a little intro?
Yeah. So, my name's Cameron Riley. Yeah. I'm a local real estate investor. Started a tenant placement company about 2 years ago with my brother. We've been building that up. It's going great. And I got in tune with Mr. Cook here. He's running for mayor and great guy, and we're excited to talk to him. Yeah. Skyler and me have been locked in for, over a year, 16.
Absolutely. So
2 years.
A lot of you guys, we have mentioned in the past several times how our tenants have come through a tenant placement company. Cam was one of those companies that had definitely assisted us. Do you want to just briefly, maybe like 2 minutes, talk about like how you guys find these tenants, how you build those connections with the landlords? For sure, we'll dive into the vacancy.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So essentially, we connect with landlords who have vacancies, and they give us the information about their unit. We take HD photos. We build a marketable listing. We generate the leads, and we look at the data from those leads. We break down that data and essentially report back to the landlord on how quality of a tenant that's going to be. So we recommend an onboarding of a certain tenant, and you owe us nothing. The tenants pay us everything. So we charge a placement fee.
Yeah, it's a great program.
Yeah. Right. So the placement fee is how we retain we get all our money that way.
It's like having a free property manager.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So, and we strive on having a high percentage of first year and beyond success rates. So I think the first year we had 96% of everybody.
That's outstanding.
That's amazing.
That's really good.
Which, the national average, depending on what service you look at, is higher than, it depends on the class of property, but I mean, 13% and up it can be for national average on eviction. So I went through my first year in the game, me and my dad went through 7 evictions. So we didn't get it right. We had to learn from our mistakes. Trial and error, exactly. So now,
the question I have is, how are you actually locating these tenants? Because a lot of them are coming, different countries, refugee kind of thing,
exactly,
stuff like that.
So but by the grace of God, the past year we were able to connect with some federal government sources, and we were onboarding refugees to properties, and they had federal funding. So landlords were getting checks in the mail for accepting essentially a refugee who had refugee documents. And over the course of the year, they got jobs and became stabilized. And then, the end goal was a great tenant, and that's really what it was every single time. There was very rare instances where it didn't work out. Yeah. But landlords want that guaranteed money. So we build our connections through the federal government, the state, and the local organizations, and they know us, and they use us and feed us tenants.
Yeah, dude, you're amazing at building connections and networking.
Thank you.
Which is exactly how you are here. So how'd you two get connected? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so I saw Mr. Cook. I was on Facebook one day, and I saw one of his posts, and there was a victim of a crime, and he brought both families together. It was really a beautiful moment. It brought a lot of emotion to me. And I said, I have to reach out to this guy. He brought the accused person and the deceased person's family together on a post. So to just let just talk.
Yeah.
Just be human. Because when something happens, there's a victim on both sides.
Of course.
Yeah. So just a beautiful moment. It really shined on who he is. And I was like, yeah, Harrisburg needs change. We've been in Harrisburg for a while. I've been in Harrisburg for 10 years. Yeah. I mean, 4 years. And what really made me contact him is I walked off the porch after doing a tenant placement 2 weeks ago, and I saw a memorial. I typed in the street address and it said 19-year-old was killed by 4 masked gunmen. I'm like, this cannot go on anymore. Ridiculous. So
Yeah, that's awesome because you're not even originally from Harrisburg. It's still cool to see that you have that passion just for people.
yeah, of course, brother. Yeah.
And of course, Harrisburg is the result of where this is taking place. And that's where you come in, Mr. Hook. So, I mean, give a little intro on yourself, obviously Harrisburg native as well.
Yeah, no problem. My name's Tone Cook. I run an organization, CEO, Michael's Memory Push. And we do a lot of dealing with violence that goes on in our neighborhoods, in our communities. We also offer any type of assistance that we can for the families that are going through the grieving process or losing someone or even a son. Like you said, both sides, go through this. So we try to look at the victim side as well as the accused side.
Yeah.
So we try to take in consideration that both of these families are torn apart.
Yeah.
So we're there and try to show any type of support that we can to help them out along the way.
No, that's awesome.
So that's a part of some things that.
How long you been doing that for?
For the past, since 2019, that's when I started my organization, but I've been doing it before then.
Sure. Okay, no, I understand. So you were running for mayor.
Yes.
Very first question is, what really made you want to do that?
Yes.
That's a big deal, man.
Yes, it's definitely a
Responsibility.
Yes.
Capital city.
So pretty much like over the years, I've been out in the community, like I said, a CEO of Michael's Memory Push, and we've been active in our community, and there's been so much going on in our communities, and often promises being made that no one fulfills those promises. And as a community activist, I try so much to keep things at ease, to keep the communities at a sense of peace. I decided to run to become the next mayor for the city of Harrisburg in order to make a bigger impact in our communities.
Yeah.
With the violence going on,
It's pretty bad.
with the lack of programs or schools
It's true.
for our children. So that's a part of the reason why, along with multiple other reasons why, I decided to run for mayor.
Yeah, that's a great explanation of why to do so. I mean, Harrisburg has been lacking for a long time in certain, aspects.
A lot.
And yeah, no, absolutely. So I think another question I had, I don't know if it's on here or not, but oh yeah, it is actually. So what are some of the biggest issues that you have seen in the past and present that you would like to change? Violence is a big one.
Right. Definitely. And public safety is one of the main ones.
Yeah.
Public safety is a main one. There's too many families being affected by violence. And in most cases, a lot of these murders are unsolved.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I know that.
Yes. A lot of them are unsolved right now till this day, and people want answers. And now I don't know if it's appropriate or not to mention the name.
No, I don't.
Just like the young lady, 13 years old, that lost her life in Harrisburg, Nariah Wright.
Yeah.
These cases are still open. So, public safety and also building that bridge between the police and the communities, because I feel as though if that bridge isn't built, like that trust isn't there, then this type of thing will continue to happen where people don't trust enough to come out and, voice what's really going on and what's really behind certain issues that take place in our community. So that's one of the main things, public safety, that I want to address.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And it's something that just comes to my mind as you were saying that is obviously that is a fantastic cause and that's something that does need to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of real estate, obviously, if you have a high crime rate city, those property values are going to come down a little bit, right? Try to keep it a little bit real estate related. But also, I was told by a mentor a long time ago, right? And I think that this is something that we need to work towards. But I think, or what he had mentioned to me is that anytime you're looking to buy a property, obviously there's class D, C, B, and A neighborhoods, and they're all, from worst to best. But if you're ever walking around a neighborhood and it's one of those neighborhoods where you see families out walking around, like they got dogs and stuff, kids just walking down the street, they're all together, that's typically a neighborhood you want to invest in, right? Like that's a good sign of like, okay, I'm in a safe place.
Midtown Harrisburg.
In Midtown Harrisburg, but then you get to parts of Harrisburg or parts of your city where obviously you're seeing more homeless people, walking around than you are actual families, right? So I think that that's going to be, a huge benefit, not only to just the community as a whole, but also to property values when people are looking to, move into a more attractive city and someplace that's a little bit safer. I feel like that's a huge bonus there.
I agree. Yeah. And that's some of the things that we even spoke about. And the way I see it is if just like you announced it, like if I was in this community where it's known to be a lot of violence going on.
Yeah.
Everything drops down.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to move in. Everybody wants to move out. So that's why I always try to
And that goes homeowners, tenants,
yes,
everybody.
yes. So I try to keep a focus on stopping that violence.
Yeah.
Because violence is the major cause of our city. People wanting to get out
It's
of
kind of
our
like
city.
the root issue.
Businesses are shutting down.
Yeah.
Everything is shutting down in our city. And I believe that majority of it is due to the violence.
Yeah.
It's due to the violence.
I'm sure it is. I mean, outside of just like, obviously, like homicides and murders, like what's some other major violence that we have in Harrisburg? I know like there's like robberies,
home invasions.
Yeah. Another thing,
multiple.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of go back to the homicide thing, another thing that I see a lot, honestly, which is something I think that needs to be focused on, is young kids getting guns, man. And it's like, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do actually, but from Susquehanna, there was not recently, maybe like 6 months ago, there was like a 13-year-old that got a hold of a weapon. And I forget the exact situation, but basically he killed like his 19-year-old brother or something like that. And the kid's 13. And it's like, why does he have a gun? Like, why does he have access to a gun? That's insane.
Problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem too. And that's a part of the plan. You know, I don't want to give too much information out, but we want to focus on like how do we get these guns, out, not off of the streets, but out of the hands of those who shouldn't be having.
I completely agree. It's like, yeah, like I have my license to carry everything like that, right? I think that guns are a benefit when they're used correctly.
They are.
But then again, once they get in the wrong hands, it's a huge threat, right? I could ruin somebody's life when they don't even know what's going on yet, before they even have puberty, right?
Exactly.
It's just absolutely insane. I mean, as a mayor, how much power do you actually have, and what do those like responsibilities look like?
So as a mayor, the power is honestly, you can't even put a cap on it. But the power, me personally, as a mayor is one to set the vision for the city of Harrisburg and its people.
Okay.
And I believe I could set the vision for the people of Harrisburg, and it's the city of Harrisburg. Period.
Yeah. So I guess the way I was kind of looking at it, because I don't know much about politics, just to be completely transparent with you. Above a mayor, like who would you go to report these issues? Like something that you have a good vision of, like something that you want to implement into Harrisburg. Who would you take that up to then to actually, put this in kind of process, get it approved, stuff like that?
For me, honestly, city council plays a major part in everything as well. But to be honest, everything goes to my team first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I wouldn't trust anything until it goes through my team. Once it goes through my team and we all put our seal and our stamp on it after we come together as a collective to see the benefits and that lies in anything that we have going on, then we move it forward to the next step. Okay. So that's what I believe that we should do, that I will do and my team will do when it comes to even making decisions for our communities in our city.
That's a solid answer. Okay, cool. So as of now, our current mayor, Wanda Williams, right?
Yes.
Which obviously she's looking to run for another term.
Yes.
How do you feel kind of about because I mean I can look back from her previous term and kind of make a judgment based off of that, right?
Yes.
Like I said, I don't know too much about politics, but I see the area that I live in.
Yes. Me personally, I just feel as though she's had her fair chance of running. Yeah. She's had her fair chance to, implement changes in our city. She's had a fair chance to address many of the things that's been going on in our city. But till this day, we are still faced with the same problems. And although I do respect her service, I just believe that it's time for a change.
No, I completely agree. All right. So what is the PUSH program? You had mentioned a little bit earlier about how you had started that up. What's like your main, I was going to say objection. That's not what I meant. So, whatever word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
but, you know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you what it stands for first.
Okay. Yeah.
So now I want to give you a little description. I don't know if you heard it or not before.
Sure, I'm intrigued.
But PUSH, P-U-S-H.
Yeah.
It started from, inside of our cities. I'm not sure if you're familiar or not. P-Funk, Uptown, Southside, Hill.
Yep.
So those are, that also goes to some of the next questions that you mentioned about the Hill.
Yep.
So, P-Funk, Uptown, Southside, Hill. We were always at even in my younger days, we were at a standoff, territorial.
Yeah.
So
was it like the Sharks versus the Jets kind of, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like what I decided to do is put it all together. So instead of making it P-Funk, Uptown, Southside Hill, because that's just inside of our city, but it's bigger than our city.
Yeah.
So I decided to change it to peace, unity, strength, and hope. And what
Okay.
peace, unity, strength, and hope is, promoting unity, safety, and hope. And it's a community-driven initiative aimed at reducing violence.
Yeah.
So that's what PUSH is. And Michael's memory push.
Yeah.
Well, Michael's memory started because of my brother, losing my brother in 1997 from a gunshot wound to his face.
Oh, geez.
So it's Michael's memory push. So I decided to start that and bringing our communities together and, pushing the next person into being a better version of themselves.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, I might go a little bit deep here, but
Yes.
how old were you when that happened with your
I
brother?
was 17 years old,
How old was he?
16.
He was 16.
My best friend, the closest to me, my mother's only child with the same father and mother. So it was my best friend.
Yeah, dude, that's so hard. I'm so sorry for
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
obviously, that's really propelled you into, making a move.
Everything happens for a reason.
It is true. I think you're going to do the best with it.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, I love the push program and the way that you're able to kind of unite all those together. I mean, we're on Investors United, so let's.
We also, it's quite a few things that we focus on. There's quite a few things, but that was just to give you a little quick glimpse of
It was contact.
what it's all about. But like from youth workforce development, gun control enforcement.
Yep.
There's multiple different things that we do.
Okay. No, that's great. All right. And so what are some, obviously, violence keeps them brought up. It's a big deal, right? What are some actual tactical steps you think we could put into place to, not eliminate, but at least decrease where we currently are?
Of course. I have quite a few ideas.
Cam was telling me, he was like, I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but he's had a good idea.
I have quite a few ideas. And I won't mention too much either. But
Wait, all the secrets yet.
yes, but one, even with the gun control enforcement.
Yeah.
Working with law enforcement to get, illegal guns off of the streets. That's a part of it. But not only
Go ahead. Go.
It's okay.
So I don't know, man. We just
How do you feel about drugs in the city?
drugs. It's just, drugs add to the violence.
Nah.
Drugs add to the violence.
Even besides violence, I think drugs can just lead people into a horrible past. Like, for me, for example, my Uncle Tim, he was, Harrisburg his entire life, so I graduated from Susquehanna Township. Tim Nowak. He,
barbershop?
No, well, I know exactly what you're talking about, though. He used to be my barber back in the day. R.I.P. Tim,
Rest in peace, Tim.
He was
Good
great.
brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he ended up going down a bad path with drugs and everything like that. And besides him, he caught a couple felonies, stuff like
Yes.
that. But then also just being homeless. He was homeless for I don't even know, 5-7 years. Sorry, Tim, if I quoted that incorrectly. Well, something around there. So it's it causes so many more issues as well. Where it's violence is a root cause, but I feel like drugs almost go hand in hand.
I agree because what many people might not know is I come from that background.
Yeah.
My mother, my father, I was in households with those who were addicted, so I understand how it could lead to a downward spiral. So
you think working with law enforcement, just trying to have them have some kind of equipment or something, at least a strategy to go about getting the illegal guns off the streets, getting some of the drugs off the streets, stuff like that.
And I do agree. So one thing that I would like to do is we need to offer more, because if we don't
have
offer
kind of
more
incentive
programs, if we don't offer more, the chances are, the risk is even higher that more drugs continue to come through our city, and that there's always going to be more problems to come with dealing with drugs. And we just need to offer more as far as
programs,
different
activities.
programs. It's even with the children, we need to offer more programs so that they don't resort to going somewhere out, hanging out with their childhood friend who they know is on drugs.
Or them just
going
to bad shit.
Yeah. Because Grant Cardone.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, Grant Cardone, big real estate investor. He said idle time was the worst thing for him. And my mother tells me that every day. Idle time, he was, strung out on drugs up until 27. He's now a billionaire. He said idle time was the worst thing ever. So when he got busy, he got productive. When he got productive, started winning and turned his life around.
Because everybody, they have that motivation, they have that energy to put into something. It's just whether or not they have that option to put it into something good, or if they get so bored, and then obviously community surrounded by the bad shit, right?
Yeah.
The easier path is typically that. But if you're able to make the opportunities easier for them to see and kind of get involved with, I feel like that'd be a huge opportunity to decrease the violence, decrease the drugs, the homicides, everything like that.
Definitely. And like I said, my past wasn't sweet.
Yeah.
My past wasn't always perfect. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been down that road, but it also takes for us to you want change yourself, because I wanted change. And not only that, even they say some things that happen in your past, traumatic, experiences can change that. But also at the same time, we're going to have to want to change in ourselves in order to be better ourselves. Because if not, anything that's offered to us really won't amount to anything if we don't really want it for ourselves. So we have to want it, they have to want it, and we have to want it for them that are going through the same things that, maybe if you haven't faced it, but someone in your family faced it somewhere.
Yeah.
So we need to offer the same assistance to them as well.
Some connection like that, which is sad, but it's true.
Yes.
Especially around here.
And I feel like the youth definitely are facing a crisis right now. They don't know how to get from A to B and then push it to C, keep it going. You have to know how to get from point A to point B in a healthy, productive way. And I feel like generations in the past kind of had more structure in that regard because, my dad, all his brothers, they knew they were hitting the military at 18.
Yeah.
Now there's a multitude of options to do different things. I'm not saying there wasn't vices back then, but the youth are always going to be with the rise of social media.
Right.
More now.
Yeah, there's way more now because of the rise of social media. So you're seeing things. You're seeing, sometimes young kids who are rich, loaded. It's not really reality. Not everybody who's 18 and 20 is a multimillionaire. But the moment you go on Instagram, that's really what it looks like.
I agree.
And that makes you hungry. And when you don't have anything, what does that lead to?
It's that, and then another issue, kind of social media wise, is when I was a kid. I mean, I know we can all relate.
Yeah,
but even I think I'm the youngest one here.
Yeah,
40, still love it. 44. You look good.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
But yeah, whenever I wanted to, hit up somebody, I couldn't just shoot them a text through a phone. I didn't have that option. It was always calling through my mom's landline. If she's picking up the other phone and hearing my whole conversation, she knows what's going on. Where it's kids nowadays be like, you could be 12, 13 years old. You're like, hey, my older brother's got these whole do you want to come over? We can spend real quick. It's so much easier to make that connection.
And I believe that it's also a problem because and it's also that I do have in play, whereas though I want to challenge parents a little bit more than they've been challenged to be active.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to our school systems, we need to be active and we need to create something, which we are creating. Yeah. And we need to have parents involved even more. So with our parents involved even more, that gives us a little bit of information as to what's going on around our children, even in school settings.
Yeah.
So that's a part of the plan as well.
Okay. And obviously, being an investor kind of podcast, something that, just threw in my mind actually as we were just talking was we brought this up on last podcast, but having a program in school for teaching financial literacy actually.
Yes.
Where that's something that's been just completely avoided. My entire time throughout school, I had one accounting class in 10th grade that was an absolute joke. Yes. Granted, I aced it. Oh. But no, seriously, we never had any, whenever you have an assembly and everyone goes to the auditorium, there's no one ever talking about, how to actually generate wealth and keep wealth and how to invest properly and how to save and budget, everything like that, create revenue, create business opportunities, hire employees, work the tax code. There's so many different obstacles that I had to figure out on my own. I mean, I use YouTube for a majority of it, right? Yeah. Which helps out. But if you're, you're not seeking that kind of stuff out,
you're not going to go.
You're not going to find it. It's not going to come to you, right?
You have to throw it in their face.
I think if we're able to also implement, besides the violence and drug programs, and we could implement some kind of financial literacy into the schools.
Absolutely.
I think that'll also give people or the younger kids a spark of oh, I need to go get this money, but not in the bad way.
Agree.
Right?
I agree. That goes back to also with trades.
Yeah.
No one. It's kind of hard to be involved with trades now. There's nothing going on. So when that comes back, that also gives that we put it in their face. That's how I like to say it. Put it in their face. Because if you show, nowadays, you show majority of the bad things going on.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what's happening now. The majority of the bad things that's being shown, that's making our children want to experience that even more. Yeah. So if we throw the good things in their face, taking these type of classes that's extinct now.
Yeah.
Bringing back certain things more programs for our children to be involved with. We're putting that in their face. So we put the good in their face. They're going to want to know what it is and they're going to attach to it. But because like you just said, if it's not there, they're going to go find something else because that's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So we have to put it in their face.
Yeah. And I'm gonna talk to the parents real quick, right? 'Cause something I grew up with, my family never talked to me about money. Like that was, I think that's really what gathered my attention for it, was like, oh, this is like something like off limits, something bad. Like I'm not allowed to know about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to garner my knowledge then, seeking out more information about money and financial literacy and stuff like that. So if you're a parent and you're kind of like that, but I'm talking to you, Mom, for sure. Sorry, she would not tell me a damn thing. No, I'm so serious though. Like, actually educate your kids. Like teach them, whatever you know. If it's, you don't have to know everything in the world, but at least give them some kind of information to guide them down the right path as well.
Yes.
Because the schools, I mean, they're not at that point where they're able to do it. So
You're right.
they need somebody to help them out.
We all need somebody.
And you're first in line,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, cool. So I was gonna ask you, have you heard of the Love the Hill project? But before camera, you kind of mentioned how actually I don't know, call him the CEO, but the CEO of that program, you guys are actually good buddies.
Yeah, I know Tenant Herman. Tenant is very good.
Yeah.
Tenant is a very good brother. I know I love and appreciate and respect everything that he does. I would love for the Hill. They do great work revitalizing Allison Hill neighborhood.
Yeah.
And as we're speaking as a mayor, I look to support and expand initiatives across the city. And now I could speak on Tenant and Love the Hill project let me see what year was it, 2000.
And then also, if you guys didn't watch the last episode, we kind of did a deep dive into this Love the Hill project and something that a lot of you could definitely initiate in your cities, because the issues we face in our city is going to be the same thing as yours, right? Yes. So if you have a passion for where you live and you want to see it turn into a better place, go back, watch the last episode, understand what we're doing now, and then obviously next as a mayor.
So Tenant, in my organization, we do city cleanups. We bring out children. Now, the most that we have ever had at one time doing voluntary cleanups is about 110 people.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really good.
All voluntary work. So my organization, Michael's Memory Push, we usually put it together like multiple times throughout the year. Yeah. And Tan and Herman and Love the Hill, they've always supported us when it came to anything that we may have needed.
Yeah.
Never, not one time, I'm busy, I can't do this, I can't do that. He was always telling them, come on over. And he also sent down help as well. So I agree with everything that they're doing in our city to make our city grow and to bring more.
Yeah. I think that, you having your organization and him having his organization, you guys unite, bring it together.
Yes.
It's going to be unstoppable because there's so many people behind both.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as in mayor for the city of Harrisburg, I intend to add more on to the things that we do in our communities now.
Okay.
So those that are grassroots, those are on the ground, they're doing the work. I intend to make sure that they are well taken care of when it comes time to giving back to our community, because I also feel as though if we're not doing what we should do in our city and our communities by those who are truly doing the work, then it's all for nothing. Yeah. It's going to fail. But if we support those who are out there doing the work and trying to beautify our city by any means necessary, those are the ones that we stand behind.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think that you guys have a bright future coming with that organization.
Now tell me this. So, Skyler knows it too. Yeah. And we talked about it a little bit. You can drive through downtown Harrisburg.
Yes.
Things are closing down rapidly. Home 231 just left. I know it's on the edge of downtown. Yeah. But still, I mean, you can use any examples. Really desolate compared to other capital cities.
Yes.
And cities comparable of size. I mean, I love Harrisburg. It's a fantastic city, so I would never say it's not. But how are we going to, as a mayor, how are you going to generate more businesses? How are you going to make it attractive to be down there, and which will increase revenue for the city in the long run? I mean, people don't go downtown as much as they used to. When I was first 21, best time.
Dude, I love it.
6 years later now, I haven't been down there in 2 years. Yeah.
So I can also go back off of that. I can give you a little bit of information like we shared the other day when we met. So one of the main things is we have to have a communication between our business owners.
Okay.
And it doesn't take a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been paying attention or not, but everything is about funding. Everything is about a deficit. it doesn't take a lot of money to bring people together in order to, build Harrisburg downtown area back up. But I also mentioned that, you might not hear people mention this, but I consider myself to be a little different. I consider myself to do, and I don't have the proper talk like everybody else. Some things I say.
You're from
But,
Harrisburg. I mean, we can't judge.
listen to me. No, so one of the main things that I am and will continue to do is I'm very hands-on.
Okay.
Now, what we need in our city is a mayor that comes out that's very confident and is not taking no for an answer when it comes to certain things, especially those who are generating business inside of our communities, inside of our city.
Yeah.
So I will be hands-on. I don't mind twice a month, 3 times a month, whatever it takes, because I'm actually one that loves downtown.
Yeah.
I love downtown. I love the environment, but at the same time, we have to put a hold on the violence, and it always goes back to the violence.
Yeah.
Put a hold on the violence is going to attract more people, but also at the same time, build that communication between those that are together, also with security. I won't go too much into what I plan for security details, but it goes to the line of communication amongst the whole strip. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If one person is bored or kicked out of a location in our strip downtown, then every other bar, they should remove them.
Yeah. They should.
Because if anything, they're going to bring the same problems to the next area that they took to the one area that makes people not want to be back there again.
Yeah.
So it's a lot that I have planned. I don't want to give too much because,
Well, thankfully, a lot of the, we have only a couple spots downtown where you can go out to a bar and party and stuff like that. And it happens to be the same owner for just about all of them. Yeah. So same bouncers get rotated, same bartenders get rotated. So thankfully, in that kind of scene, I feel like there's some kind of communication between the different bars. And obviously there's plenty that,
I actually just had a meeting with the brother that you mentioned about that owns Coexist.
Yep.
Yeah, actually a good guy. I believe he's a good guy, great guy. He just wanted, things better for his, businesses. And we had a great conversation, and I intend to make things better for not just him, but all of those who own businesses, especially those young entrepreneurs. We have to bring attraction to the city. And speaking on Michael's Memory Push, my organization, we've been having pop-up events. I've been hosting these, like I said, with no funding from anyone. We've been hosting many things with even different business owners, young entrepreneurs, up-and-coming entrepreneurs. And every single event that we've hosted, everyone has benefited. Yeah. See, no one left not having gained anything. So I believe that I can play a major role, major part in the development of our city.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, as soon as you, like we mentioned, we've seen jobs, businesses leaving our city, right? And it's due to a lot.
All-time high.
Yeah, it's due to the violence and just how we are right now. Mm-hmm. But as soon as that gets turned around, I feel like kind of in terms of job growth, it's going to bring some more businesses back to the city. It's going to open some opportunities, and therefore, people are going to be able to get a job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully something better than what they currently are at, right?
Yes, because there's definitely there's no reason that downtown shouldn't be flooded with people 24/7. And now we know the parking issue. There is that parking.
There's parking issue.
I get there's a contract you have to work out there and so on. You have to look into that once you do that there, obviously. But there's more than that too. I mean, people have in the past since COVID, I would say that people have feared for their safety at times downtown.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I've seen shots let loose downtown.
See, that's unacceptable by all means, because why would you go through that when you can drive 5 miles to not go through it?
Yeah, we just need it's another thing is with downtown of HMAC. Like I said, it's the violence that causes a lot.
I was down last Friday.
I was at HMAC right now. Do you remember when the young brother Azar Hughes was gunned down right across the street from HMAC?
Right in front.
Now that night, I was on a stage as they were doing a memorial service.
Oh, yeah.
And previously, 2 of his brothers were murdered.
Jeez.
So he, while we're doing the memorial services and it's showing his brother on there, I'm up there speaking. He come out an hour later, he's gunned down right across the street, and I watched him lose his life.
Jeez.
So this isn't just this is also personal.
Yeah.
Because I believe that we deserve more.
Yeah.
And as someone that's been active in our community as an activist as well, I've been calling and calling and calling for the longest of time without any responses and any different, like any changes in anything. So I believe that I'll be the one to, change some things up. I might not be perfect.
No,
I might not have the same background as anyone else, but I know for a fact that what I can do, because it shows.
Yeah, that's true. You're leaving your heart on your sleeve, as I say, right? And I mean, you have the experiences to really fire that passion inside of you. So I think that, we got good things coming.
Yeah.
We could touch base on your vision for the future of Harrisburg. I think we kind of did that a lot, though, already, which, I mean, obviously, more job growth, less violence, higher education, better investment opportunities.
Well, I will say that it also, your love for Harrisburg definitely shines through. I mean, and I was telling you about NFL players from Harrisburg, and you're like, whoa. Talk like there's a bunch more than that too. We have, guys my age. I mean, might have gone on to do amazing things. Jihad Proctor, D1 athlete, give it back to a community by working at the school. Malik Gantz, another one.
Gary Gilliam.
There's a ton of them. I mean, Daniel Santa, Shani Coy, Zotique. There you go.
So it's a lot.
Then
He almost got there.
Jamil Drew. But I was talking about, like the celebrities, the guys who made it pro or get paid to do sports. And then it's like you sit back and realize Harrisburg has also so much more than that. Those guys are amazing. They're, they're legends. But I mean, there's the Winton Williams, real estate investor, great guy.
For Harris mentioned Micah Parsons. You can't forget. Micah Parsons.
There you go.
So as our city has so
Bryce
much.
Hall, Bryce.
Yeah.
How Bryce Hall?
No, not Bryce.
He plays cornerback for the Jets. He's from McDevitt. Bryce.
I can't remember.
He played cornerback for the Jets.
I'll have to look it up.
Long story.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of them, though.
Yeah, there's
They're pretty good when it comes to sports.
there's a bunch of them. So, I mean, it's just Harrisburg's a great city for the size. It has so many people. But we got to tune in and tap in with people who are also, like the Poteets and the Lloyd Hills. Like, they're investing as a real estate.
Yes.
Ryan Hill, they're improving properties, giving properties to families that need them. Section 8, they're accepting Section 8.
Yeah.
That helps the communities.
It could also be a really good thing in terms of the kids building a connection actually with us as an influence because kids love sports, right?
That's one thing about Jamil, though. One thing about Jamil, he's very active with teaching the youth.
Yeah, no.
So that's something. He's very active. Him and Michael on
the podcast, right?
Those two guys there, Micah, Jamil, and Gary Gilliam.
Yeah.
Man, I tip my hat to those guys because they're very active when it comes to our youth.
Yeah.
And that's something that we need in our communities. But another note, like one thing about and I had jotted this down.
Sure.
I want to see a city where home ownership is more accessible, where developers are encouraged to invest responsibility, and where renters have safe, affordable housing options.
Yeah.
We need a balanced approach that supports growth without displacing long-time residents.
Mm-hmm.
So it's many things that our city has to look forward to.
No, that's true.
There's just so many strong leaders in the city. So and you can bring them when you can get them more involved. I know many of them are involved, but you have the ability, I feel like, to really just bring everybody together. So you can be anything. I mean,
Yes, you're right. You're right. I believe as a mayor, I will have more. How should I put this? I will have more resources behind me, whereas though I can bring it all together and not just bring it together for the inside of the community, but see, what people are failing to realize is, and you haven't heard anybody mention this, so I'm going to be the first to mention it. It isn't just about Harrisburg. It's bigger than Harrisburg. You got to look at also the surrounding areas. Now, outside of Harrisburg, Stilton's right there. It's connecting. So we have to not only focus on Harrisburg, you got to have a communication and relationship with those.
Yeah.
And I have that relationship because when things happen in Harrisburg, it happens in Stilton.
Yeah.
When things happen in Stilton, it trickles over to Harrisburg. So we have to have a line of communication between not only Harrisburg, but Harrisburg and Stilton.
I agree. I mean, personally, obviously I'm an investor. I own multiple properties all over Harrisburg area.
There you go.
I avoid stealing at all costs.
Why?
Dude, I do not like stealing.
Wait, and I'm just saying, railroad's different now.
So I've been stealing every day. It's 3 days after stealing.
It's different.
It's better. It's better.
Yeah, it's better.
It's not. I don't know how to.
I love Stilton.
It's funny because I actually just had this conversation. My little sister's boyfriend, he owns a convenience store restaurant in Stilton, right? And he asked me just a couple days ago, why don't you ever invest in Stilton? And we had no joke, I gave him a 30-minute conversation, right? At some of the key points there, which it's very similar to it relates to Harrisburg, right?
Yes.
Where you're seeing no appreciation in the steel market whatsoever. It's been at a standstill for a long time.
Yeah.
If you drive down, was that Main Street of Steel? Front Street?
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything
Front
closes
Street.
down.
Everything's closed, dude. There's windows broken.
Everything
Shit's
closes.
boarded up, spray paint, graffitied everywhere. And it's just like you said, though, like it trickles down from more than just
It
Harrisburg.
does.
Where it's like, okay, so business left Harrisburg. Well, actually, I think business left Steeling first. They left Harrisburg.
But see, guess what's going on? See, I don't know if you know or not.
Yeah.
Now, the strip on Front Street, it's not very big.
No.
And there's
not big.
the clubs that are open down there. They have a few spots down there that are open. Those individuals that opened it are from Harrisburg City.
Oh,
You see how Harrisburg is ran, so we're trying to stretch it out a little bit. And that's why I say it's so important to have a communication between both, because not only are we building Harrisburg up, we're also trying to build Stilton up along the way.
Yeah.
So it's not about, like I say, I'll be the first to say I do not know everything, but when it comes to, like, say, for instance, the mayor of Stilton, the council of Stilton, it's good to have a relationship with them because we could bounce ideas in order and efforts for both of us to grow. And we grow together.
That's true.
So,
And kind of on the contrary, right? Where, Steeling, kind of like a subsector of
Yes.
Harrisburg, where it's like not the best area.
yes.
But we're talking, outside of Harrisburg, there's great cities. We got Mechanicsburg, Camp Hill, Carlisle, like the West Shore even, where we're able to,
Enola. I mean,
Enola, East Penn. No, but those are a lot, I think, more thriving communities.
Yes.
I think that if you're able to build the connections with those city councils and those mayors, and you guys are able to bounce ideas over each other, we can kind of implement whatever strategies that work for them already into the Harrisburg, and then trickle on to the Steelton and the High Spire and stuff like that.
In a way that it won't take away any more money from us. I see losing too much money.
Bring the money to Harrisburg.
Revenue.
Yeah. Revenue is a major thing, obviously.
You got to create, you have to create a little more.
And I was telling Mr. Cook, Lancaster, they totally, like
Lancaster's amazing now.
why can't Harrisburg have that same vibe?
Dude, Lancaster used to be a shit show back in
They were I was just there. They completely revitalized. I say for a weekend, like there's no reason the capital city can't have it. So like, what was their blueprint? Yeah, exactly. What was their blueprint? How can we look at that blueprint and then somewhat bring it?
I think we need a major sports team.
I mean, maybe just seeing about it. They got to rein in the Harrisburg
Spurs.
But we have to just, that'll take away. I think that we need to stay focused on, building our city up before we add something else that could be more,
I just think about like
away from us.
all the major cities that are thriving, and it seems like
They all have
a sports team.
But see, then again, you got to look at those cities.
Yeah.
Those cities are more active, and when it comes to the things that's going on in their cities that they dislike, they're more active. Their voice just said, well, Harrisburg, and this is part of the problem that I also like to address. When it's problems in our city, instead of everyone showing up, like say for instance, the school board meetings, we don't show up, and it's sad. But other cities, they show up to when things are important or is hurtful to them and their children. They show up. So that's the kind of, and I'm going to go off topic a little bit, like with Michael's Memory Push.
Yeah.
That's why you see everywhere you see push, Michael's Memory Push, you're going to see Push Harrisburg, because all we're trying to do is push Harrisburg forward. We've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So this, as a mayoral candidate, I look forward to doing even more with pushing Harrisburg forward. Yeah. I've never been the one to, say, oh, I got to get out of Harrisburg. Harrisburg isn't this. I've always been the one to stand and fight for my city.
Yeah, I love this.
And that's how I intend to keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we touched base briefly a little bit earlier on development, right?
Yeah.
And kind of, new infrastructure for the area. And we do have some areas where, we still have space to do so. And even some spots of Harrisburg where they probably need torn down a little bit and rebuilt, right?
There's a lot.
There's a lot. So I was wondering, do you believe that there's enough support for developers in our community? And do you think that there's any regulations that are slowing their growth process?
Mm-hmm. I believe that there's always room for improvement.
Of course.
There's always room for improvement.
Being an investor, like I've had multiple really successful developers on this podcast before. And an issue that I notice a lot is the pricing for like permits and the time constraint that it takes to actually get the proper paperwork in place. Where if you're building, let's say like just easy numbers, $1 million home, right? the paperwork alone for acquiring those permits, you're looking at 10 to 30% of the entire cost of that build just in paperwork. And then also they can build that house guaranteed faster than the city can get that paperwork to go through, which I understand it is a long process. And there's obviously we need to make sure that everything is in order. But I think that there's, systems that we can implement to make it more effective and efficient.
Yeah, when you cut down red tape, I mean, when you remove most of the red tape with keeping proper regulations in place so nobody does anything crazy, I mean, it does generate more revenue. I mean, it's attractive. So like Skyler said, I mean, it's almost cheaper sometimes for some of these landlords. They won't even get a permit. Like they'll just do it on the low.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Crazy. Yes. So yeah. Flat out on this. So personal example real quick. Previously we had on an investor. He's a young dude like myself. Yeah. More successful than even I am, which I'm not that successful, right? I'm not tooting my own horn and not flexing. Sorry. No, I'm just playing. But he did tell me when he first got into it, he started doing like rehabs and development before I ever did. I haven't done any development yet. Hopefully, one day here soon.
You will.
Get into it. Thank you. But he told me that he was trying to go through the proper route and do everything, by the books, the way that it should be done. And ever since he pulled his first permit, the city now is on his butt about every little project he does for any house. Like they follow him around. Where it's like, okay, you didn't pull a permit for that. And they'll just have like these random inspections where people pull up. Where it's like, you're just tormenting this kid when he's trying to, build up these houses, a nicer community, give housing for these people who are less fortunate and several other options too, right?
There has to be some type of
Like, that should be fucked up, dude.
There has to be some type of leniency when those are trying to build our city up.
Yeah.
Rather than putting a target on them. Yeah. Now, if it's some type of issue or problem along the way, then we have to pull them in first and speak with them. Listen, this is what we need to do. This is what should be done. Now, we're going to help you along the way because that's why I say we need to have a little bit more of communication. Because we can all work together and make this thing grow together because I don't know what you know about real estate. Yeah. But you can help me and I can help you and we can make our city grow. That's what we're lacking.
Yeah. Do you have connections with Ryan Sanders by chance? You know who that is?
No.
He's the one that did the development for LaShawn McCoy down on 6th Street.
Oh, right.
He did like his 51, 52 units. I'm going to get you two hooked up.
Yes, please do.
He's a big developer and he's also done some kind of gentrification stuff like this in the Kensington area of Philly.
Yes.
So I think that you two could throw some great ideas off of each other as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Definitely.
Cool.
You put those buildings up fast too.
They look just rolled by yesterday, was checking them out.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah. So how can real estate investors work with the city's plans to improve neighborhoods?
Oh, by partnering with the city on redevelopment.
Yeah.
Partner up. Same thing we talk. You got to partner up.
Yep.
And we can go from there when we discuss what's needed, what we don't think is needed. Investing in mixed income housing and working with local organizations to ensure that the developments align with the community's needs.
Yeah. An issue that I had brought up on the previous podcast is obviously with the Love the Hill project, it really is just trying to improve the area and, make nicer houses and add more opportunities. Now, the issue that I brought up on that podcast, which my guest at the time didn't have an answer to, and I don't expect you to have an answer yet, but something to at least think about. A lot. So we're going to obviously be increasing the quality of these homes, which is in turn going to increase, if it's an investor that owns the property, it's going to increase the rent, or if they're looking to sell that property, it's going to be a higher property value. Now, Harrisburg, I mean, there's a lot of people who are below the poverty line. Like, they don't have that high of income, right? So I guess what would be the balance or what would be the solution to figuring out where those low income earners or what they need to do or where they need to go or what needs to happen in order to make sure that we can still have a nicer spot, but still make it, affordable for everyone who loves their community and has been here their whole life.
That's a hard one.
That's a real hard one. I know. Right. I don't expect you to have an answer yet, but I think when kind of in turn, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, if we're able to build up the community, once again, more job offers, right? We're going to have more businesses come in. We'll have more job openings. And then in turn, giving those lower income earners, maybe a potential for creating higher income by getting these jobs that come in, right?
Yes.
Therefore, being able to. It's kind of like a big cycle. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something to definitely think about.
Yeah, it is. So that's why when it comes in, I say you're just more knowledgeable in certain areas than I will be, and I never have a problem with. Well, let's discuss this and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
So that's
you got
that I will look forward to.
You got the experience though.
But also, like I said, tax incentives.
Yeah, taxes. I don't know if you.
I jotted some notes, but like I said, man,
Okay.
tax incentives for home buyers and responsible developers.
Sure.
Stronger tenant protections is what we're going to need
Yeah.
to ensure fair treatment and improve infrastructure, making neighborhoods more desirable through better roads, parks, and public spaces.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the things that we're going to have to take a look into.
No, I like that a lot. That's a good idea. I mean, I was gonna say, what policies would you implement to make our city more attractive to homeowners, investment tenants? But it's pretty much the answer we had already gone over. It's just creating more job opportunities for real. Property taxes. So we did just touch base on this. Obviously, you had mentioned like tax incentives for builders or developers, right? But so I read an article, I want to say maybe like a month ago. Dauphin County apparently just increased their property taxes by 27%.
That's why I mentioned that. I got a little head, but yeah, that's why I mentioned that.
Yeah. So you think that we can offer some kind of incentive to I don't really know.
People are okay with paying up taxes when their quality of life improves or when things become easier. I mean, it's hard to justify high taxes when you feel like your quality of life isn't at the point it needs to be or things aren't improving. Like you mentioned, even to me, like you can drive on some of the roads in the city of Harrisburg right now. They need to be repaved. Some of them need to be done. So,
dude, yeah, you don't see any Lamborghinis going down there.
I don't think it never will the way it is now.
Yeah.
Now, if we can change these roads and things like that, and I think we'll have more traction again.
I think we get on Front Street. When they added that bike lane in, they did this way saving.
Yeah.
That was pretty crucial, actually. That needs to be done.
So, some of the attractive parts of Harrisburg, like City Island, I mean.
2nd Street needs to be done in front of the Rubens. Probably in the city.
That's been there for years. Just say, yeah. So it's just like things like that, like those little things. I mean, the curb appeal can just be, so much better. So
yeah, no, I completely agree. So like, if you go up towards the uptown area, you notice the roads start to get better.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get midtown, downtown, it's like,
tell you,
why do we stop?
When you cross the line, now this is where roads get better up to.
It's talking about Division Street.
Now, hold on, wait. Before you get to Division, say you're on 6th Street. You know where the federal building.
Yeah.
Now it's the line. It's a big line in the middle, right across the street from the federal building. So once you cross, a little bit up some, once you cross that line, the streets go down.
Mm-hmm. By like the nursing home facility, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get there, the streets are good up until that point.
Yeah.
Then further down, it's.
Yeah. It's like, wow.
So I just believe we got a lot of work to do, man.
We got a lot of work.
Yeah.
You got a lot of work to do.
I don't have a problem with putting the work in, using our resources that we can use, bringing people together in order to do just that. So,
same thing with Cameron Street. What's going on there? The thing's horrible.
See, and it's our city, and this is bad. So that's why.
Yeah,
that's what's very important. It's very important that we have to, do something to uplift our city by any means, because what we've been, promised previously before, what we've been promised over and over again, nothing has changed. Not as of yet. Nothing has changed. So, and every candidate has, over the years, have mentioned about, okay, we're going to do this with policy. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We don't see it. Yeah. So that's another part of the reason, to answer your question, why I decided to run to become the next mayor for the city of Harrisburg.
Yeah.
Because I want to be more impactful in our city. Because, like I said,
a lot of
man, it's just a lot. It's a lot, man.
Yeah,
so,
the action's not actually there to support it.
It's not.
And it really could be too. Like my dad always said, Harrisburg was just a really, really strong leader away, with a
that's
vision.
all you need.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, what matters is, like you said, somebody that's strong and going to lead the city. Like I wouldn't mind. I could take the backlash. I can take whatever anyone has to say about me, because at the end of the day, I'm a person of faith. I believe in God. And I believe that when I decided to, make this run, that I didn't decide it on my own. The people chose me to do it. So therefore, I embrace it, and I will stand for my city as long as my city stands for themselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
do you see any challenges for investors coming up?
Yeah, there's going to be challenges. There's always going to be challenges. But like I said, if we work together, we can figure out a way.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're open to
figure out
I have
a
an
way.
idea. So, sorry, I just thought of something. So, the Love the Hill project brought to my attention recently that in Harrisburg alone, there's over 800 houses that are vacant.
Oh, wow.
Insane.
Yes, that's what we always talk about.
And all I do is I bring on investors, a majority of people who are investors, including myself and Cam, right?
Here you go.
And we're looking for vacant houses to bring back to life. You have an inside connection being a mayor where you are probably able to get in contact with these homeowners of these houses or the estates or whatever the situation may be to actually let them become available for investors like myself, Cam, and other people.
That was a great thing you said. So I own a
Resources.
Exactly, the resources.
I own a property in Uptown behind the True Leave weed store. Yeah. So on Lexington Street. Yeah. So the property attached to mine, you won't believe this. I did the reverse search. Well, I checked the county website, and it's owned by the Harrisburg City Housing. They own it. This property has been sitting vacant for 4 years now. I know the family I've lived out before. I called 5 different people within the Harrisburg City Housing. I said, "Hey, how can I buy this? It's sitting. There was homeless people living in it. I got the homeless guys out.
Never get a response.
And it's just like he called it, but never got the No. It wasn't like that. But no. But anyway, so like there's a vacant townhouse, beautiful 4-bedroom. Why is it just sitting there? No one's worked on it. They have it's on a schedule to where the grass gets cut once a month, so like they know about it.
Like a white building?
No, it's a brick. It's a beautiful brick townhouse attached to mine. It's just like I tried to buy it for the past year, just calling people, trying to talk to the director. Like, so as the mayor, you will have the resources, you will have those numbers. And when you see, I mean, what would you do if you saw a vacant home like that?
I'm gonna tell you what I do now.
Yeah.
When I see so many vacant homes, right? One of the first things I do is say, wow, there's so much going on in our city. For these homes to be vacant, for all of the, the deficit that we're in, we can change this into something either for our youth, either another place that we could turn it into something for the homeless or brothers like yourself.
Yeah.
For create more openings for somebody else who may be homeless or trying to find a place to live. So that's one of the things I do now. Like, wow, it's too much going on in our city. And then, everybody speaks about our city, people leaving our city. So if we have brothers like you that's willing to build our city up, then why are these buildings still left vacant?
Yeah, especially when they're owned by the city. It's owned by the city.
Get the buildings when they're owned by the city.
It's like, I'm
willing to pay top dollar for this.
Yeah, and
exactly,
and the city's losing money. I mean,
that's potentially another revenue.
Yeah, of course.
Bring money in, stop kicking it out.
Yeah, it's sitting there vacant. Take the $60,000 tomorrow. It's sitting there vacant.
Seriously,
take it.
That's a lot.
It's really offering 15, but
those who like you said, man, it's about the connections now, like, and that's another part of the reason why I want to become the next mayor for the city of Harrisburg, because we can build them bridges right there, communication, and think about or try to plan for opening things up so everybody benefits instead of losing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you have any stance on rent control policies? So I'm not a fan of rent control. And what I mean by that, just to kind of break it down a little bit, is let's say that you're renting out a 1-bedroom apartment. You're only allowed to rent it out for this much a month. It's like there's a cap. And same thing for 2, 3, 4, 5. And then same, that goes probably with like a grid pattern. Like if you live within this grid, then, this is the cap, or you live in this grid,
I believe in protecting renters from extreme rent hikes.
Sure.
Like, because that's just off the wall. Like, that's one thing that I do stand for. I do not want, rent to just automatically just increase just like that. So, but we also have to ensure that the landlords can maintain their properties.
I'm thinking something you might be able to implement just to kind of give the tenants a little bit more relief is before rent increase, the tenant needs maybe at least like a 90-day notice. So they have 3 months to prepare. Where
at least a 90-day notice.
Yeah. So they could then decide, okay, I want to stay here and I'm willing to pay that. There's a bump. And then
it gives them time. If not, it gives you time to figure it out. Absolutely. I agree with that.
That'd be a good idea.
Absolutely.
Have you seen like massive rent hikes? Because we haven't really implemented it. We don't really do it. I mean, if you're paying your rent on time, in fact, me and my father, we reward you. Like, we rarely even raise the rent.
I never raise rent.
Yeah, if you pay on time.
On pause. That statement. I've never raised rent on a tenant that I put into the building. So if I were to buy a building and the rent was substantially below, right?
Then you have to raise it.
Yeah, I need you to pay this.
Yes.
Or I need you to.
Yeah, and then that's not a problem because that's what that's honestly at the end of the day, that's your property, but you're still giving them a way out. So that's not a
I
problem
tell
at
them,
all.
I'm like, listen, like I know I'm increasing your rent by a lot more than what you were paying, but at the same time, I'm gonna redo your entire property. So
And it's not like you're trying to force them outside of the city. And, that's what people
I try to help them get
automatically
assistance
think,
with like
they're just trying to
Section
kick
8.
us outside of the city. That's not what it is. Is that like you said, like at the end of the day, you have an income, you have family to feed just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're just kicking them to the wolves. You're giving them an option either, but that also goes with the jobs that we spoke about creating. So you might just have that option to add on to, whatever you don't have. Here's an opportunity for you to, get involved in this.
Yeah.
And this can even help you out a little more.
Yeah.
So
I think that might be a good idea too, is actually having, so once we do have more companies coming in, we have these job openings and opportunities. If we could somehow get those opportunities, like make the investors aware of them and like maybe like have some kind of list or database that they can go in through like Dauphin County website or something like that. And then they could, match it to their tenant, be like, hey, by the way, in 90 days, I'm doing a rent increase.
Yes.
I understand that maybe you're on like a fixed income or your income's not enough to support this increase. Here's a list of opportunities that I would give
help you.
specifically. If there's any of these that spark your interest, let me know. I can put a good word in for you or something like that.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. See, that's why it's important for us to have this conversation. For not only necessarily me, but for anyone else that has the same mission as all of us.
Yeah.
To have that communication.
I just want to be a better area.
Everything is about communication when moving forward. Because if we don't have the doors open for communication, it's going to stay the same way.
Yeah, I think with like your connections to everybody across the city, you treat the city's equal in your eyes. Everyone's
Definitely.
Yeah, of course. So like people want to move in to Midtown. We all agree on that. It's a hot spot. But I feel like under your administration, you would give the Hill's the new hot spot. So the Uptown's the new hot spot. Yeah, whole city's a hot spot.
So I want to give you this insight now. I mentioned about what HMAC that happened down there now.
Yeah.
As you know, and as a homeowner or someone that's a tenant. So what's happening with memorials is it's a lot of spray painting going on. And that, some children and families aren't used to that.
Yeah.
And it's sad that coming from our communities inside of the city of Harrisburg, that we are used to seeing spray painting, and that's just not the way to go. So what I've done is, now I was also a part of this email with city council and things like that, council member. Mm-hmm. Now, a sister that I think she owned the property, but she was reaching out asking how, this is how I will play a major part in the redevelopment in our communities now. So she's reaching out, asking others, how does she go about doing this so that it's not disrespectful to the family? And, I kindly chimed in and said, I will speak with the family member, the mother of the deceased. And this is the type of mayor we need. I will speak to the mother of the deceased and ensure that it's not a disrespectful thing, but, you have people coming out that's actually scared now because someone got shot right there in their property and spray painting this a memorial. So what we decided to do is, after talking and connecting the two, the mother, the parents, and the owners, they took the memorial up, got the paint and stuff out the way, and they're building something else. And not just having a spray painted memorial. I believe it's a tree or something like that in honor or memory of
That's beautiful.
Azar. So we have to offer that.
Yeah.
We have to protect our homes and our properties from certain things, even though we may not like it, it may not sit well with us, but we have to protect other people's businesses. And that goes a long way with, like we mentioned about your property, there were shootings and things like that. So what another plan of mine with increasing that in our city is boots on the ground. Like multiple times I was overlooked. People that are really out here doing the work with stopping violence are often overlooked. What I have is the ability to bring them in, all of them, the ones that are overlooked, that's really doing the work in our communities, and have them in different areas, whereas though that they're going to be active with maybe helping you, helping to keep the violence down. So I think that's another way that we can help each other out with that too.
Just keeping violence down, automatically raises property value.
There you go.
And then how do you feel about adding more surveillance, more security cameras across the city? what's your stance on all?
Now, me personally, I wouldn't do it across the entire city, but I will do it amongst I don't have a problem. Not saying that I will, because I don't make promises if I'm not know for sure I'm going to keep them. But I don't have a problem with like the hot spots in our city where we know the violence is at an all-time high.
It's
I
the
wouldn't
common
mind.
place.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having certain civilians, whereas though we can track down if anything has happened. Like for example, the Raya Wright. Her murder is unsolved. 13-year-old baby girl lying dead with nothing is in
Harrisburg.
So I love for some areas to have that.
Yeah.
The stager.
Harrisburg doesn't have like a CCTV or something?
Like they have some installed like security surveillance on their sections. It just depends. But we talk about that. There's a lack of them compared to like other cities. Because I mean, you can get like
See, that's like really behind closed doors where this general population money.
Thankfully, Pennsylvania has a fantastic governor. So I would be it'd be hard pressed. He would help if someone's really
You know the best cameras?
wrote the grant.
Do y'all know what the best cameras are?
Where?
The walking cameras.
The ones on your phone?
Us. Us and the phones. The walkie cameras are the best. So what we have to do is we need a mayor that's going to be able to come out here and say, this is what we need to do to protect our city and protect our children and our families.
Yeah.
We don't care about favoritism. We don't care about that's your friend, that's your relative. They are killing us and they're killing our babies. You see something, you have to say something. We have to stop our children from dying. Everything else will come along with it. So the first thing that's why I say I always want to focus on public safety, because everything, if that's not right, everything else will fall out. Like everything will just keep going down like the city of Harrisburg is happening now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. How can tenants feel more secure with their housing situation in such a rapidly, developing city? We touched base on that a little bit. That's going to be towards the bottom, like third to last question. I know we touched base on saying like, here's a couple things, maybe like that 90-day rule, therefore rent increases. And then obviously getting more security, maybe more cameras put in place in Harrisburg can make not even tenants, but homeowners, everybody just feel a little bit more secure and safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you have any other ideas? Because the city is growing and obviously there's gentrification that's happening.
Yes,
Such
definitely.
as Midtown. And it's working its way up a little bit into the hill, certain blocks, certain things.
Again, like I said, strengthening tenant rights, creating rent assistance programs, more rent assistance programs. And
I like that idea.
New developments include affordable housing.
Yeah.
Profit.
Now, we'll say, for speaking as a landlord in this, I don't know how to really put it. So tenants in certain situations are seen to have too many rights, but not enough in others, right? And the way of having too many rights is what are like, you know what I mean, though? Where it's like you can't get a tenant out of the property even if they haven't paid in so long. It takes such an extended period of time, which really takes a toll on us landlords, where it's like, I don't have money just sitting around. Like, I'm waiting on that tenant's rent to even pay my mortgage, or else I'm going to go into default, and that's on me, right? So it's like, yes, rental assistance, I absolutely love the idea. If there's some way that they could qualify for some, extra money to help them with their living situation, I love that. That's great.
Right.
But in terms of the landlord, like if the tenant's not paying and they have the money to pay, or there's like no real reason of why they shouldn't be paying, I don't want them to be able to continue to have the rights to be able to stay in the property for an extended period of time, which is just screwing my landlord over at the end of the day, when all the landlord wants to do, most of the time, I can't speak for every landlord because we do have some bad ones, but they just want to be able to give a good family a good home.
And also a big concern for investors is, getting stuck with like the Capital Region water lien on your property. The worst thing in the world. Like that's probably top 3 for Harrisburg City investors, local and out of town guys. I mean,
insurance just smacked everybody in Harrisburg too.
Yeah, so I won't say a name, but my buddy was stuck with $10,000 worth of, across all properties, of course, but because I mean he was relying on tenants to pay him. They don't pay him. So, I mean, that's obviously going to be contract work and all that. But, I mean, there needs to be support on both sides for landlords and tenants.
It has to.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So that's something that, me personally, that's something that we will have to sit down. We will have to go over. That's why I say keep the communication lines open. We'll have to come up with something together whereas though it works in the benefit of both.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Okay. So do you know what a short-term rental is? like a Airbnb, right?
Yes. Yes.
How do you feel about those in our area?
Right now,
Yeah. Now, future.
the future, yes.
Yeah.
We love it.
Okay.
We just have to bring our city up.
Yeah. So that's the main issue, where it's like the only true attraction outside of
Nurses.
So a couple things. So nurses, we qualify them as midterm rentals. They go through this one website called Furnish Finder, where they're typically in a property anywhere from 1 month to 6 months. That's what we call midterm. Short term is really the day by day, upwards to a month long, right? And the only true attraction we have, or at least that I've noticed, where people are actually utilizing Airbnbs are two things. One, they're coming in for something in the government. They're some kind of government official or whatever the situation may be, because we have the Capitol building here. And the other one is Hershey Park, right?
Yes.
Now, Hershey has put a cap on Airbnb, no longer allowing them in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the only
Harrisburg.
the only Airbnbs in Hershey now are ones that have been grandfathered in. Yeah, so I don't know if it's like I'd have to go through and do a deeper dive into those rules as far as Hershey goes. I don't know if it's Dairy Township as a whole or just is there an area of Hershey or how that works. But yeah, I think that if you have a strong Airbnb market and you have people who are willing to pay by the night to come to your city,
Yes, of course.
that's a bonus. That's
why new. It's now they put a cap.
Yeah.
So that opens up even more business for the city of Harrisburg.
Yeah. Something that also got brought up, which is really crazy
Wow.
on this last podcast, is that Harrisburg was voted in the top 2
places, 100, I believe, places not to live.
No. So crazy. So great.
No, I'm sorry. I'm speaking about violence. This is in the top 100 violent.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone is the one who said this actually.
About Harrisburg?
About a year or 2 years ago. He said that Harrisburg was either number 1 or number 2 place in the U.S. to retire.
Really?
Which is crazy.
What?
I don't. Central PA. People love Central PA. I mean, you're close to everything. That's why. That's literally why.
That might be
Baltimore, Philly,
Philly.
anything, DC. That's why. I mean, so
Pittsburgh.
Central PA overall is a great region for you building your life, building your business.
There is almost it's not to bring our city up, man.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. We need to bring the city up, and we need to I don't know. We need more than we've been given.
Yeah.
We need to just go out here. We need to figure it out. Come together. We got to figure out how to take our city back.
It needs to be like the business hub and entertainment hub of the region. And right now it's just not, but it could be, I think.
For so long, we just been down. Like it's a black cloud over our city.
Yeah, and so it's unacceptable, which is why, like, we're glad that, came on the podcast so you could speak.
Yes, definitely. Your vision. I'm glad that y'all invited me to join.
It was a great honor having
No, yes, Don. Surely we buy you. He definitely believes in what your vision is for sure. And so just my only thing is I'm not offering advice. I'm just saying keep being yourself, because
Always.
I know you're involved in politics now, but you're like a real human, a real father, Harrisburg businessman first.
Definitely.
I consider,
Yes. Yeah.
You're a
I
friend.
consider myself. I don't want to say the wrong word,
hard to hear,
but I consider myself me.
Yeah.
I consider myself someone that's just like you, just like everybody else. I don't put politics over my name. I just consider myself to be me, and whatever's best for our people,
That's what you're here to do.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to push our people and our city forward. That's just me.
Yeah.
What would you say? Just one last question, or I guess.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. What would you say are your first couple months in office?
Yes.
What's the 3 things on your mind each day? What are you gonna? I know there's a bunch to do.
So
but what are the top 3 that if you had to name 3?
Public safety is number 1.
Okay.
I'm sure I even jotted it down for you just so you can have this, and I don't lose. Public safety is always number 1. Public safety is number 1. Building, I really want to build the bridge. Like I said, I always mention this over and over again. No, not right. Well, my main focus is always going to be. I come from being a community activist, and I will always be a community activist, even as a mayor.
Yeah.
I want to stand for the people, no matter what. So my main thing is to build the bridge between the police and our communities, because that's most important in my eyes. Because without, we need our police.
Yeah.
Just like the police need our community. So that's always number 1 to me. If we can't build that trust between the police and our communities, then we're not going to get a hold and grips on the violence that's happening.
Yeah.
There's no respect. And with that note, there's no respect. There's no respect for property. There's no respect for anything else.
Mhm.
So that's the main thing that I would do. And number two, what I tell myself is stay patient. Don't worry. Take one step at a time and get the job done. And then I'll really move on to the next phase would be 3. But 2 is just telling myself a reminder, building a program, adding more programs for the children in our city to be involved with. And not only that, but also our schools. Our schools, man, like you said, the educational part. We need our children to learn more businesses. We need them, like for instance, I know you wouldn't mind coming and having, some type of information to offer the children so that they can get their started.
I love
So
it.
that's the things that we need.
Yeah.
In order for our city to grow, we need the youth
Yeah.
behind us as well, teaching them. So that's another one.
The
of
future
things.
is the youth today, right?
Yeah. You want to give the youth a plan.
Yeah, not only because they're coming after us.
Yeah.
So we got to build our city. It ain't just with us. It comes with after us. This is a process.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to stand and take the time and do what we got to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm
Well,
excited, so.
May 20th.
Yeah.
Mark your
May 20th.
calendars. That is voting day. If you are in our area, Dalton County, please, do your research. Understand Mr. Cook's story. He's a very well-versed, experienced person. He's been through the ringer a little bit, you can tell. But I truly appreciate you coming on. And, get ready to vote.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I appreciate
Do you have yeah, of course. Do you have any links that I could drop down below, like
yes,
social media and stuff like that?
R-Tone Cook for Mayor. That's the website. Instagram, R-Tone
I got
Cook
your ID.
Mayor.
I got it.
Instagram, Push Harrisburg. Facebook, Tone Cook.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, send those to me and I'll be sure to add it into the description.
definitely I got you.
And the overall theme, really, of this whole podcast was, everything does lead back to real estate. It's actually crazy.
It does.
It really
So-
does. It's the base of everything. People need a place to live,
Yeah,
a safe place to live, and it's just really cool. Every topic we talked about, I feel like you could connect it to real estate.
it's true.
On public safety.
It's not just our city. 'Cause
Yeah,
we have the same issues in every city.
And that's the best thing about Harrisburg. There's been cities who have gone through the struggles at Harrisburg. It's not unique. The struggles aren't unique. Every city has been through a phase of struggle and, a light at the end of the tunnel. So you can look at that blueprint and say, hey, how can I make this section of the city? How can we do this and that? How did that mayor do it? How can I achieve it?
Yeah,
So you have a viable blueprint just by looking outside of Harrisburg to bring it back there.
that's right.
Absolutely.
I didn't mention about I'm pretty sure y'all familiar with the Hood project on redevelopment of Hall Manor and Hoover homes.
No, I didn't know about that.
I know
But I actually seen Tannon
Yeah.
a couple days ago in there. So
really?
I was also a part of, helping out, bringing people to pay attention to what's going on with the redevelopment of Hall Manor and Hoover homes. And that's through, I believe, Hood. So, so it was actually, everything is going to be ready. So,
That's a question I have.
yeah.
William Penn. What's going on there?
You know who I believe has great ideas on William Penn?
Michael. Yeah.
He has great ideas on William Penn.
Because William
And-
Penn
and-
takes up so much space and it's such a great location. Dude, it's just a completely huge vacant building.
It is, man, and that's
Unacceptable.
that's very much so. I didn't think about that. It's very much so unacceptable, but he has great ideas on it. And that's something that I'm actually, we're looking into.
That's something I'm looking at.
Definitely looking into. Yeah,
If there's something I could
it
do,
needs to be opened up.
let me know.
All right,
It's huge acreage.
That's completely. Whether we turn that into affordable housing or something.
so it's about connecting dots too as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what we can do, we can connect some dots because something needs to be done.
Yeah. You could literally make that a mini city. Like just like that. And like I'm talking restaurants and
It's got Italian lake right there.
yeah.
It's so nice.
It's beautiful.
You got the stage down.
It's just going up
Yeah.
like that.
It's just falling apart.
Bottom line is Harrisburg is great.
You ever broke-
It really is great.
You ever broke into a William Penn?
No, damn. As some of the friends did. Nah, I never kind of.
Times. I love it.
That's cool though. No.
Yeah, that's really cool actually. Just like going back through and like it's actually so weird, dude. It's like you ever see those clips on YouTube or Instagram where it's like I'm going to a ghost town or something. Oh yeah. It's like completely a place. It's like Chernobyl or something. Dude, it feels like that. Where it's like they used to have like the kids' books like out on their desk. It's like, oh, is that that's like their own handwriting?
Just got
Dude, it's crazy. And I got lost in the basement. That was crazy. Yeah, I was down there to myself, dude. All of a sudden, I just saw this mannequin sitting there in the dark. Oh, I lost it.
How many years ago is that?
It had to be at least like, how old am I? I was still in high school, so we're talking like 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was, so you was like, well, 22, no, you're 24 now.
I'm 24 now.
Man, you was scared. You was running through them hallways.
At your ass. It's like a maze.
Hell, man.
It's like a maze. No, but I truly do appreciate you coming on.
I
And
had a good time. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
awesome, dude.
And thanks for having me.
Thanks for making that connection.
Yeah, no, of course. So
So I appreciate
for you.
all you guys for tuning in. If you want to take some control in your city, talk to your mayor, get some guidance, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.
See you.
Peace.